Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Kylie if you're new, and today I'm joined by a very special friend. Let me just wake him up. Hey, R2. Sorry, I know, I just need to grab your little antenna. He's a little grumpy today. I know, I'm just putting in your antenna. Okay. Hey, R2. Do you remember Han Solo? Do you remember Luke Skywalker? That's a shame. Okay, so for my subscribers, I know that typically I talk about horror movies. You're being way too fussy. I'm gonna turn you off. Yeah, I'm gonna turn you off. You're being way too fussy. Yeah. If you're new to my channel, I don't typically talk about Star Wars. I normally talk about horror movies, and so if you're one of my subscribers and you're a little bit confused, I just needed to talk about this last episode of The Mandalorian because it has the internet so polarized, and I wanted to throw my 2 cents in, I guess. Plus, I do kind of want to branch out and start talking about other different pop cultural stuff, but this channel still is mainly for horror content. I also want to let it be known that basically this entire video is going to have spoilers for this last episode in it. I will also warn you when the spoilers are going to start, so you're safe for like a little bit. So I'll just say right now before I begin that I love this show. I highly recommend it if you've never seen it. If you have Disney Plus, please watch it. It is so worth it. I think that there's something in it for every kind of a viewer, even if you're not really a big Star Wars fan, which is another disclaimer because I am not a mega Star Wars nerd by any means. I don't rigorously study what is considered to be canon. I don't have a comprehensive understanding of all of the trilogies and all of the unique characters and stuff like that. I'm more of a casual fan, but as you can see, I obviously have a lot of love for this franchise. So please, if at any point you need to correct me, just be polite about it. Let's have a discussion. Okay, disclaimers are all out of the way. Today I'm going to be talking about the ending of season 2, episode 8. I'm also going to be talking about the future of the Star Wars franchise, all of these new Disney announcements, as well as some of my theories about where these plot lines are going to go. Okay, the spoilers are starting now, so please, if you have not watched this show, I urge you to click off, especially if you're a fan of Star Wars, because you're going to want to have the full emotional impact of the ending of this episode. Because the surprises that this episode in particular has in store, it has everybody buzzing. So I hope that it hasn't been spoiled for you so far. If it hasn't, please click off. Okay, so starting now, I'm jumping literally right to the end of the episode because that's what has everybody buzzing. That's what everyone wants to talk about, right? The internet is torn. I saw this tweet that was honestly kind of bitter. I'm gonna read it for you guys. Seeing the responses to the Mandalorian finale and Jon Favreau in general only proves that most Star Wars nerds are only interested in seeing cool shit which tickles their fan senses. Who needs risks when you can get pandered to, right? Lucasfilm never deserved Rian Johnson. I just, before I even throw in my opinion, can you just let people be happy? Do you have to be so mad about this? I get that maybe it's easy to just pander to longtime fans, but you have to admit that was a pretty magical moment. I personally didn't know what to expect in that moment. I thought that it was going to be a new character, and when they came in wielding the Force like that, I truly had not seen any other character in Star Wars wield it in that way. And their hood was up and stuff, they weren't revealing their face. I thought the big reveal was that it was gonna be a woman. I don't know why, but I thought that was gonna be the big surprise. Nothing prepared me for the fact that it was Luke Skywalker that was about to walk through that door. And realistically though, what other characters do we know that were still alive at this point that had that type of connection with the Force? I mean, plot-wise, Grogu couldn't have settled for less with his master for his training, I don't think. I personally think it had to be Luke, and I'm sorry, I mean, I know that that's what people are upset about, the fact that it was Luke, but realistically, with the talent that Grogu had, with the connection that Luke has to the Force, does it not make sense? Also, I cannot believe that his name was revealed to be Grogu. That doesn't exactly roll off the tongue. It was also such an emotionally heavy scene with Din Djarin's face being on full display, Grogu seeing his face for the first time, and in that same instant being ripped away from him. I was tearing up. I thought it was a beautiful moment, and I am gonna come back to it though because I have theories about it. But people also seem to be mad about the fact that rather than going with originality, there will now be 2 spin-offs of The Mandalorian. I'm not bummed about that. I'm really not. If you're a fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I am, Miss May is going to be in the spin-off with Boba Fett. I think Disney realized that she was one of the ultimate stars for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and now I guess she's working full-time for Disney. I think it was pretty strategic of Disney to place Ming-Na Wen as one of the stars of the new Boba Fett spin-off, because now at least they will definitely have the Marvel fan base that will watch that show. But the main reason why I'm not really mad about these spin-offs is that we're getting all of these characters that weren't really that meaningful in the past, but now they're getting all these fully fleshed out stories. I think it will bring so much more meaning to the trilogies now that we have this more comprehensive understanding of these characters and of the entire cinematic universe. So that's how I feel about that. Now I'm going to get into some of the Disney news, and then I will get into my theories on where this Star Wars plot is going to go. So I'm looking at an article on USA Today, and I'll link a couple different articles down below with all of the news, all the announcements of the new shows and stuff. So on Disney Plus, they are planning 10 new Marvel series, 10 more Star Wars series, 15 live action or animated series under the Disney or Pixar umbrella, and 15 new Disney or Pixar movies. But apparently, most of the streaming firepower is directed at Star Wars. So 2 more spin-offs of The Mandalorian are Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka. Also another series called Andor, starring Diego Luna as the character he played in 2016's Rogue One. There will also be an Obi-Wan Kenobi series with the return of Ewan McGregor. Hayden Christensen is also returning for that series as Darth Vader. Lando Calrissian is getting his own series. I mean, you get it. There's a lot coming. Besides the shows, I wanted to talk about the future of the Star Wars movies, because those are in talks as well. I'm looking at a website called Dork Side of the Force. Again, it will be linked down below. But apparently Lucasfilm and Disney are already in talks for movies to debut in 2022, 2024, and 2026. However, I guess that the writers have stepped away from their Star Wars involvement because they just had too many other commitments going on. But the movies are still scheduled to be released. It's just kind of unclear about who's involved with them. Also, Rian Johnson's trilogy that had been announced is a little bit unclear just because of the backlash that they received for The Last Jedi. It's crazy that all of the major Star Wars stuff that has been coming out has been so polarizing lately. It's kind of a shame. It also says that Taika Waititi is set to direct one of the Star Wars movies, although that news is still a little bit unclear. Kevin Feige is also working on a Star Wars movie. I guess that they grabbed him from Marvel. They were like, you know what, you did well here, you can do Star Wars as well. However, I don't think that any of this is actually confirmed. I'm gonna go ahead and say that all of this is just kind of alleged news, but it's looking like in 2022 there will be a new Star Wars movie, although honestly I don't know. I mean, with COVID a lot of productions are on hold, although a lot of people are back working again. It's unclear. I don't know when these movies are coming out or who is going to be working on them, but I do have some theories about the plots. If not for the movies, maybe of the shows, but just with where Mandalorian left off, I have some thoughts. Also, another disclaimer, none of these theories are based on research or a legitimate desire to guess what comes next. They are literally, I just thought of these for fun. I also wanted to be able to start a discussion with you guys, so please, I want to know all of your theories down below as well, so feel free to respond to mine or just put yours down below, whatever you want to do. By the way, these theories do contain some spoilers about the most recent trilogy, and well, I mean, probably from all of the whole universe. So if you're not somewhat fluent in the events, at least of this last trilogy, you might want to click off. I also have not watched any other reviews of this last season or this episode or anything, so this is something that I came to entirely on my own. Although I am curious if a lot of other people did come to this same conclusion or if I am way off base. Okay, so theory number 1. If we're talking about movies or a show, I don't really know, but theory number 1. So in terms of there being another trilogy, with Palpatine dead, that begs the question, who will be the new force of evil? My theory is that it's actually going to be Grogu. Now hold on, hear me out. So going back to the ending of this last episode, this is such a tragic and good origin story in my opinion. Grogu had finally found someone that he loved. They had this father-son type of a bond, only for him to then be ripped away by Luke, you know, for his training. It was for his own good, right? But still, he was being taken away by this person that he had a connection with that was someone that finally he felt safe with, because as Ahsoka, right, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, as she had mentioned, he had been alone for quite some time, and then finally he found the Mandalorian. Or rather, the Mandalorian found him. You get it. Ahsoka also said that she would not train Grogu because she saw anger in him. Little red flag, no? We also know that Kylo Ren was one of Luke's students, but he rebelled against him and got several of his other students to turn on him as well. And then they joined the dark side. Do you see where I'm going with this? So now now that we know that Grogu was one of Luke's students, now we could maybe assume that he was one of the ones that turned against Luke. Also, Grogu wasn't around for the destruction of Palpatine, so I don't know when they do another movie when it's gonna take place, but he wasn't around for that, so either he died before that, or he just didn't want to help the good guys, or he didn't want to help the bad guys, or he was waiting for his moment to rise up. And maybe now that Palpatine is gone, he can rise to power. I don't know. I don't know. I think that this would be a really interesting route for the franchise to take, because then we would have an opposite Yoda. We could have Yoda and then we could have Grogu on the opposite end of the good and evil spectrum. Not literally, I mean, I know Yoda's obviously gone now, but also I think that Grogu is kind of a good villain name because it doesn't really roll off the tongue. It's not a pleasant sounding name. Also, with this avenue, I'm wondering if they could bring the Mandalorian back, and maybe the Mandalorian would be the one to get him to reconnect with his good side the way that Luke did for Vader. But then at that point, I guess it would kind of be a recycling of the same exact story, so. But now instead of the son helping the father, it would be the father helping the son. Although timing wise, when all of this would take place, I don't know if that would work. Also, Yoda's, or Grogu, well, okay, what are they called? Grogu would age very slowly, so that wouldn't, I don't think that would really work with Din Djarin to come back to be the one to save him or whatever. So that probably wouldn't be the route that they would take, but I do kind of believe that Grogu would make a good villain. This next theory is a little bit far-fetched, but it is one that my mom came up with actually. So let's talk Moff Gideon. He willingly let Din Djarin take Grogu back. Why? Because he had already collected his blood, so what is he gonna do with it? Perhaps Moff Gideon will now be the new main antagonist, and he'll use Grogu's blood to either create a clone of Grogu so we can have his power and he can just kind of wield it via his own little clone of him, or we already saw his dark troopers, but those all got destroyed by Luke, right, or sucked out into space. So he needs his next mode of attack. He needs to create his next super soldiers. Do you see where I'm going with this? So maybe he could use the essence of Grogu in his blood to create super soldiers that had a connection with the Force somehow. Or because of where the Mandalorian falls in the timeline of events, and this is before the most recent trilogy, maybe Grogu's blood led to more experimentation and eventually led to create what became Supreme Leader Snoke. Maybe that's a little far-fetched, but isn't all of it though? Because Snoke is messed up in the face, he's messed up in the head, and we don't really know his origin story, do we? But that actually does it for my theories. Again, I did not do research on the canon, on the stories, on the trilogy, on the timeline, or anything. These are just some theories that I made up for fun so that we could have a discussion, you know, just so we could talk about it. Also, if there's gonna be spoilers in your comment, because there probably will be given the subject matter of this video, just put spoilers at the top of it so that you don't ruin the episode for anybody else. I just would hate to be the reason why this episode got spoiled for anybody, because I think that that crazy surprise with Luke coming in the door, I feel like that needs to be organic. I feel like people need to feel it. Otherwise, if it's spoiled, I just don't know. Do you think it would have the same kind of emotional impact? Probably not. But that does it for me for this video. Again, this is a horror channel, but I do want to kind of start talking about more pop cultural stuff. So if you're new and you're a Star Wars fan, you found me because of this video, please let me know. Also, if you made it to the end, I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you subscribe, because I do want to make some more kind of Marvel, Star Wars related content in the future. I think that my next pop cultural related video will be having to do more with some of the Star Wars announcements, because I think I want to make an entire video just talking about all of it, all the Star Wars and all the Marvel, just all the Disney stuff going on, because they really, they need to calm down. They need to let us breathe, because there's just so much to talk about. So I think I'm gonna make an entire video dedicated to that, so I hope you stick around. If you want to follow me on social media, all that will be linked down below. My vlog channel will be linked down below. Check it out if you want to. But that does it. Yeah, this was an emotional episode. It was a lot to take in. I'm very curious to know how other people feel. Please put all your thoughts, your questions, your comments, concerns, put them all down below, because this is one of those times where I really implore people to comment. I'm asking the audience, what do you think? Okay, for real this time, that's it from me. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye!